Okay, you're all set?
All set?
Yep.
Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call the regular board meeting order. We call at 6:02. Move the roll call. Jim Anderson. Excellent. Dr. Valvoline.
Here.
Reedy.
Here.
Jennifer Law. Excused. Carmen Smith.
Here.
Cindy Sutter.
Here.
And Dan Sutter here. We have a board. Go to in memoriam, extend our sincere condolences to one of the families and our people who passed away since our last meeting. David Munger, age 66, passed away Tuesday, May 2nd. Dave was a part of Start DD program for over 50 years and received services from our SSA department. Let's take a moment of silence for his life and passing. Now I need a motion to approve minutes from the regular board meeting held in April.
Valvoline moves.
Second,
Normally the first second.
thank you. Any additional revisions or corrections? If none, all those in support minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Or say nay. No abstentions. Minutes are approved. And now we have a recognition. Four.
Good evening, Board. This evening, we are recognizing the retirement of Karen Evans, who is retiring on June the 2nd. Karen has served the board as our personnel officer in the HR department for 21 years. She has many fine qualities, and she shared those qualities with our employees and coworkers in the HR department for the past 21 years. We have all benefited from her patience, expertise, kindness, knowledge, follow through, professionalism, and sense of humor. Karen has been a trusted advocate to our employees and has guided many through a variety of employment life decisions, from interviewing to hiring, safety and benefits training, legal matters, retirement counseling, and everything in between. She has been there. She has been instrumental in the board's HR function in too many ways to count, but most notably during the past 2.5 years in the implementation of our HR Chronos database. As a result of her ability to build relationships with employees and her gift of diplomacy, Karen has been able to navigate those occasional difficult employee conversations with discernment while remaining thoughtful and sincere. I've had the privilege of working alongside Karen for the past 11 years, and it has been a pleasure, and she will be missed. But she is so deserving of a long and happy retirement. And we wish her all the best and thank her for her service to the board and congratulate her on her retirement and all the adventures that
That's kind of tough to follow. But thank you. When I came here some years ago, I was already 10 years into a professional career. I had gone to college in a non-traditional way. My son here was at my college graduation, so I didn't come to it traditionally. And I want to give a special thank you to my husband, because when I wanted to change from teaching into HR and try to find a job, the person who hired me was Sandy Evans, who was treasurer of Harrison Paint Corporation. And after a couple of years, he gave the opportunity to take the HR department and sink my teeth into the profession. So for the 15 years we've been together, it's been my biggest kitty. Boy, I always just saying, whatever you have to do, you have to do it every time you please. So don't do that. So I really appreciate it. When I started here, I was looking to get back to a place where there was a mission. I mean, I enjoyed teaching a lot, but it wasn't going to be full time for me. And so when I interviewed the board and got the offer, I just couldn't believe I hit the jackpot, with the mission and what we do. And that's just been a strength for me all these years. From HR perspective, like Bonnie said, we used to do so much. We had the bird's eye view to the function. We don't work in the silo at all. We get to learn everybody, know everybody. And my first 10 years here, I was completely in recruiting. And I had literally hundreds of people as part of the team, got to know those people so well. It was really nice to have those relationships. Now, when I talk about the mission, I get to do that in the new orientation, present the board strategic plan, and we go over the mission and we talk about the values. And I put a slide up towards the end where it says life is a relational experience. The quality of your life depends on the quality of the relationships. And I think that sums up the job that we do here. And it certainly sums up HR, but everybody that we hire here is going to work inside those relationships. So I want to thank all the people I worked with, all the leaders, especially Bill and Connie. We worked so closely for the last 10 years. That part's going to be hard for me. But I have husband, children, grandchildren at home. I'm going to dive right into the summer with some grandkids and that. So I thank you for this honor and for the time I've spent here. It's been true.
You're okay. Here. Good, thank you for your years of dedicated service to the board. We wish you many years of happiness and health. We'll entertain anyone for public speaks. Only for public speaks. We'll move on to the President's report. Good evening again. I had the nice opportunity to attend the Southgate graduation on Friday. And it was just a pleasure to be part of the graduates and their family milestone and see the happiness, the hard work that went into all of that. And also 2 weeks ago, attended the Association OACB trustee meeting, as well as a spring conference. The topics continue to be the state budget, direct support, professional wage increase, and parents as paid providers. The waiver design is also a topic on everyone's mind. Phil or I will share information until it comes available. That concludes the President's report. And move to the superintendent.
Good evening. I hope you guys are well today. It's like a beautiful day. We're gonna have a gorgeous week, so hopefully you'll all be able to enjoy it. This is the time of year. It's filled with joy and a mixture of trepidation as students transition from school. From the 17 school districts, we have about 60 students in our 17 districts that are moving on to adulthood, whether that's employment, vocational habilitation, or adult-based support. And as Dan said, we had 10 graduates from Southgate, and it was just such a nice event. Jenna and her staff do just such a nice job with the graduation, and it was really, it was warm, it was emotional, it was filled with joy, tears of joy, and really tears of sadness. And I had one parent come up to me and said, just extend the age to 30 or 40. And I'm sure, yeah, it was just like, I'm just not ready. I knew it was coming, I'm just not ready. So it was really heartwarming. We didn't have our TAP preschool graduation on Monday, and we had a small class at TAP, which is in Play local schools. That will be our last graduation there. We are bringing that classroom back to Eastgate for the new year. So we said our goodbyes, and that'll be at our Eastgate location. We do have our preschool graduation in Eastgate next Tuesday, and that's always a very happy occasion. So, as far as summer plans, we have a Southgate summer camp. We have 2 weeks with elementary students and then 2 weeks with high school students. And we'll be serving 22 students for those summer camps. We are also funding a summer camp at Gellbrook, and they have 1 year to elementary students, and I believe there's 10 that will be supporting. So we're very excited about that. You may wonder what other families do. We have a number of families that go to the Rotary Camp out of Akron. It is just a beautiful location. It's on the side of the hill. It's on a lake. It's always well done. And either parents pay privately or they use family support services dollars. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that program a little later in the board meeting. We did receive an information request from the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities regarding our accreditation. This is part of their sample selection process. So they requested every person that's on a home and community-based service waiver, where they go during the day, if they have restrictive measures, and if they're in the Ohio individual service plan. They also requested all our early intervention recipients and their ages, along with our staff roster, and then what we're doing for self-advocacy. That's this information request has to be completed and submitted to the department by the end of the month. So we're working on that, but it's all becoming real again. It was just last year that we did this, but we're doing it all over again. So we're gathering all the information that's required. As far as the state budget update, the budget is in the Senate at this time, and it is in the Finance Committee. And we got a very pointed question to us as the county board system. Basically, Senator Robichuk, who's the chairperson of that committee, said, okay, county board system, the House put money in, moving it from $17 to $17 in year 1 and $18 in year 2. What are you going to put in? So there is broad-based consensus that the county board system can put in $1. So where that would put us today is $18 in year 1, $19 in year 2. We believe by that ask, they're going to try to get us to our goal, which the Budget Coalition has never wavered on, and that's $20 an hour average wage across Ohio. So more to come on that, but we are moving the needle, and we are cautiously optimistic in regards to what that will do to wages and what that will hopefully do to the workforce crisis and hopefully minimize that. But testimony will continue. I did want to provide some context what $1 costs. So across the 88 county boards, $1 increase costs $59.3 million. I mean, that is truly staggering. So, I mean, we're at like 1388. So the governor put in $15 year 1, $16 year 2. House put in, and so there is lots of money being put into our system to try to ameliorate where we are today. Dan referenced parents as paid caregivers. This was put in as a result of COVID emergency, and it's put in what is called Appendix K, and that is permissible right now. We anticipate the Department of Medicaid putting in their rules, which will be released on Friday, for it to be permissible for our waivers. So there's been a lot of advocacy in regards to the cost of this, and we'll just have to know more. But I wanted to provide some of the Medicaid perspective, because really, when the Department of Medicaid makes the decision, it's for the Department of Aging, it's for Job and Family Services. So it cuts across, so to carve out BD is very difficult. So we anticipate that there will be general language that will continue what has been in place from the COVID emergency. So more to come on that. I'll certainly put something in the weekly update on Friday, because that's when the rule will be, the initial first reading of the rule put in place. And this is separate from the state budget. So that's what we have today for you. Are there any questions? So really stay tuned on the state budget issues, and then we can hear a little later from Shannon Krause, so one of our SSA supervisors, on our family support services plan and how it assists them.
Okay, thank you. Committee and department reports are in our packet. Are there any additions or deletions in the beginning this time? With none, we do not have any old business or new business, but we do have a presentation. Presentation on family support services.
Great. Good evening. My name is Deanna Kraus. So I am the supervisor of Family Support Services. So this is a really large program. I like to act like I do it all, but I have support with two SSAs, Cheryl Glennie, who's here, and another SSA, Sarah Hellman. They help run this program along with some clerical support. So we are quite a few of us working through this, and you'll see when we get towards the end of the presentation how large and how many individuals this affects. So what is Family Support Services? So it's a program that supports individuals and families in the family home. StarkTV annually provides funding to support this program. Our program runs 7/1 to 6/30. So we're getting ready to ramp up right now. We're getting the phone calls, our applications coming out. So starting next week, the applications go out for our 7/1 fiscal year. So we're starting to amp up. So if you start to hear more about it, it's because it's that time. So what is FSS used for? It's for special equipment or modifications, so like those sensory items, communication devices, adaptive car seats, strollers, special dietary items, incontinence supplies, recreation, dance, horseback riding, some counseling, training and education, and then some respite care that families can access through this funding. Who can apply for these funds? So anyone eligible for County Board of Developmental Disabilities, a person who lives in the same home as their family, and then someone who has no other funding. So if they're on a waiver or they're receiving subsidy through the adoption or foster care system, they are not eligible to apply because they already have funding. So this is carved out for families who do not already have funding, and for households with income less than $79,000. So FSS is, like I said, it's a whole year, runs 7/1 to 6/30. So the max allocated someone can get in the first quarter is $750. So as the years go on and families apply, the max number that can be the max dollar that can be allocated to them does reduce throughout that span year. And that's just because you have less time to go through the funding. Process is actually really simple. Once someone's determined eligible for our services, they can request an application. Applications are also found on our website starting June 5th for the next span year. And then families receive the application, It's one page, a couple questions. They fill it out and submit it back to our FSS department. Family receives funds via like coupons that we have, and along with a vendor list of everyone that we work with who has said, yep, I'll take the coupons directly. If someone is interested in accessing a service from a vendor that we don't work with directly, there are other ways that those family members can access services. And that is kind of another process of they pay for the services and then submit the receipt to Neon for reimbursement. So Neon is the organization we work with who helps with the funding to reimburse these providers. So what happens when FSS funds get exhausted? So just think out, this is a very important program, and this does happen. So families applying for the program, when there's no money available, will be placed on our waiting list. In the event that there's like an extreme or emergent circumstance, they can reach out to the SSA, they can reach out to the SSA department intake line and kind of talk through what their situation is. And then we can look at those situations individually and figure out how we can assist them. This is just kind of a list from 2017 on of the number of individuals who have received the funding and how much we were able to allocate in those years. So as you can see, we assist a lot of individuals with this program. We get a lot of positive feedback in regards to family members that are receiving this, the extra therapies that their children are able to access, the extra respite care they're able to receive to get a couple breaks during the year is extremely beneficial to them. And so I hope actually over the next year to collect some stories to bring that to you guys so you can start to see this is very impactful. And I can't stress enough how much this means to the families that we serve. So being someone that answers the call and, you know, our staff who answer the call, we really hear so much about this and how important it is. So we really appreciate you guys kind of allowing me to come out, speak about the program. I'm very passionate about it because I get firsthand experience of how many families it impacts, what it does and how it helps families. Any questions? Yes.
Is there a lot of turnover in the families, or would you say you have a base over the years?
Yes, we absolutely have a base. And our families have it down. So they know, like when our applications are going out, they know they need to get them in quick. So yeah, we have a lot of people, we know they use it for yearly.
Bill mentioned the Akron Rotary Campus. Can these funds be used for something like that?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we see families using it for. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this time we'll have a review of policy slate for first reading.
Policy 2.16, Administrative Resolution of Complaints, was reviewed with no changes. Policy 4.14, Layoff of Management Employees, also reviewed with no changes. Policy 4.42, Visitors, was reviewed with no changes. And policy 4.53, Criminal Offense, also reviewed with no changes. Thank you.
Good. Now we move to resolutions. Resolution 05-18-23 approves board expenditures for April 2023. I need a motion.
Vicky moves.
And second. Thank you. Any discussion?
Good evening, everyone. For the month of April, we had total local revenues of 18.9 million, state of 227,000, and federal revenues of 302,000, giving us total revenues of 19.5 million for the month of April. We had total wages of 1.3 million. We did have 2 payrolls during April. Total benefits paid of 738,000, total other of 5.6 million, giving us total expenses of 7.6 million. We had our revenue exceed our expenses by 11.8. I just want to note we did receive a first half real estate distribution during the month. Down below, looking at our cash balance carried over, we have still 2022 purchase orders open in the amount of $2,400. 23 purchase orders open in the amount of 8.6 million, and then a positive year-to-date variance of 3.9 million, giving us unencumbered cash minus our $10 million reserve of 46.4 million. Looking at our budget versus actual, we have received 25.15 million in revenues, which is about 50% of what we expect to get. And we have spent 21.3 million, which is about 35% of what we have appropriated for the year. Our available budget at the end of April is just under $30 million. Again, mostly made up of unencumbered waiver match and personnel expenses. Our prior year encumbrance report, we carried over 558,000 in 22 POs. 333,000 was paid year to date. We've canceled 221,000 and still have about 2,400 open, and it's basically one purchase order. Be close to. So resolution 05/18/23, you see our two payrolls there. And then we did have an SSA incentive we did pay in one of the payrolls, but that was pretty much it. And then the week-by-week breakdown of non-payroll totaling 6.4 million. We did have a waiver match payment in there as well, of course, you could see that. If there are no questions, requesting approval of resolution 05/18/23.
Okay. All in favor of the resolution, say aye. Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Financials for April are approved. Then move to second reading, the core policy presented at the April meeting.
Policy 1.03, meetings of the board, was reviewed with no changes. Policy 4.50, cell phones, smartphones, tablets, and personal devices, was also reviewed with no changes. Policy 4.58, fitness for duty, was revised. The revision included language that provides more explanation and definition regarding the fitness for duty process. Policy 5.26, school age excess costs, was also reviewed with no changes. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to resolution 05/19/23. Prevents approval for board policies presented for second reading and a motion to approve.
How about Lakers?
And second,
Piggy seconds.
thank you. Any further discussion? With none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Board policies are approved. Just a reminder, our next regular board meeting will be here at the Workville Phone Center on June 27th. Now need a motion to adjourn.
How about Lakers?
And second.
Piggy seconds.
Just what is today, we're good.
Next people. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. We are adjourned at 6:31. Thank you.
I'm through there, so.